Hello and welcome to the NGOCC podcast. This podcast comes your way every Friday at 15 hours where we get to ponder on different issues that are affecting us in society. My name is Chibesa Cecilia Mungulove and I am your host. Now, if you joined us for last week's episode, we had a quite insightful discussion with Mrs. Judith Muila from Families and Nations, and we were just tackling incest. So do take time to go through our YouTube channel and get to listen to that beautiful episode where we got to discuss different issues centering around incest. Now, on today's episode, we are discussing gender-based violence. And as usual, I'm joined by wonderful women. And just like any other day, I'm not alone today. I am joined by one of Zambia's wonderful women who is going to help us understand gender-based violence. Now, today, I'm joined by the Zambia National Association for Women with Disabilities, Madam Bwalya Chilufya. Good afternoon and welcome to the NGOCC podcast.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me.
We are happy to have you here. Now, recently, the Zambia Police Service disclosed the first quarter of the 2025 gender-based violence cases. And of course, we have seen an increase in the number of gender-based violence cases in the country. And the total number of cases recorded was 11,117, which is representing an increase of 9,700 cases compared to the first quarter of 2024. This then pushes us to discuss gender-based violence, but also just to understand what exactly are some of the causes of gender-based violence and also take it from a different angle, which of course Madam Bwalya Chilufya will be able to help us understand. Now, Madam Bwalya, the statistics have been released regarding the increase of gender-based violence cases. So perhaps before we even dive into the topic of discussion, I would like you to just introduce yourself to the people that are watching you or the people that are seeing you for the first time. Who is Madam Bwalya Chilufya? And also you can share with us just a little bit on the organization that you're coming from.
I am Bwalya Chilufya, the National Coordinator for Zambia National Association of Women with Disabilities. I'm a Minister of the Word. I'm Pastor Chilufya.
Nice.
From Feed My Sheep Family Church. And I'm a widow and I have one son. And my son is 31.
Nice.
And I am a social worker. My career spins back to 1996. And from that time until now, I've basically been working with persons with disabilities. I first began work as a social welfare officer in the Ministry of Community Development. And I moved on to heading one institution that is the Zambia National Trust Fund, which is NTD. And now I'm here volunteering for the National Association of Women with Disabilities. What we basically do as a National Association for Women with Disabilities, we champion the rights of women with disabilities. And members for Zambia National Association for Women with Disabilities are drawn from countrywide. We have members in all 10 provinces of Zambia. And basically, we are trying to be a voice for women with disabilities. We amplify the voice of women with disabilities. And we try to ensure that we have representation in all spheres of society. And we basically try to facilitate the improvement of livelihood of women with disabilities in Zambia.
Clearly, your passion drives from as far back. What is gender-based violence?
Even before I begin to talk about gender-based violence, I want to go back to your statistics on GBV in Zambia. I don't know about those statistics if they include disability disaggregation. I would want to know how many persons with disabilities are included in that 11,000 plus plus. Do you have anything on?
Well, apparently not.
Yes, exactly.
Apparently not.
Exactly that. Because I know that in those statistics, rarely do they talk about persons with disabilities. So are they not among women with disabilities or children with disabilities, not among those who are being faced by GBV? That is
They
a
definitely
big
are.
question to ask, because I know in the communities they are there, but what happens? Why are they not reported on? Are they not citizens of Zambia as well? So if they're not in those statistics, then they're not reported on. Then they're the forgotten group of people in our society. And I should have mentioned that I wasn't born with a disability. I acquired my disability over 10 years now. I suffered a stroke and I have a physical disability.
Right. So perhaps we could pick it up from the non-inclusion of persons with disability in the statistics. As coordinator, what is your plea to government, or what is maybe your word of caution or advice to people that do these statistics and the aspect of them not including persons with disabilities?
I remember there was a time that I was part of the entourage that went to Force Headquarters with NGOCC. And what we were told then is that it is difficult for the victim support unit to disaggregate their data because their reporting templates don't disaggregate. They don't have anything to point to disability. And they promised then that they would revise their reporting templates. And that's our plea to government, that because I've noticed even when you talk about the people that go to the hospitals, the health facilities, and we were told that when they are collecting when they're recording data, they're getting data, there is no provision for them to indicate whether one has a disability or not. And I remember they said it is the reason why disability doesn't come out in these reports.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, then this brings us to the discussion of gender-based violence. Perhaps we could pick it up from understanding what gender-based violence is.
Okay. From a lay person's point of view, GBV, gender-based violence, is abuse of someone based on their gender. We have sexual violence, we have physical violence, and we have psychological violence. We also know about economic violence.
Right.
Yeah, so when this violence is instigated on someone based on their gender, then that becomes GBV.
Right. So perhaps maybe you could run us on what exactly is sexual gender-based violence, what exactly is economic violence, physical, and so on.
Okay, thanks. Sexual violence, we talk about being forced to have maybe being forced to sexually. Yeah. This is where you talk about maybe rape. You talk about even incest. You talk about even in homes, husband and wife. When the husband or wife forces the husband, that becomes a sexual violence. Well, it's basically having sex against your will. Yeah. When you talk about physical violence, this is where someone is beaten. Basically, it goes usually with the inequalities of powers, strength, that is the power I mean here, where you get some sex being more overpowering the other. Yeah, you get someone being beaten, they are being beaten based on their gender.
How are these cases handled out there in communities?
Just like any other woman, they're prone, but they're twice as much because mostly they're vulnerable in that they don't have the kind of physique, okay, that other women without disabilities may have. And most times you find a woman with a disability will be sexually abused, okay? And when they are sexually abused through deception, they may think this person really loves them or really wants to have something with them, but they're just using them. And sometimes they may be abused by a person, maybe they could be so-called husbands, and they don't report the abuse because they fear being left or they are threatened. And sometimes some women with disabilities find themselves in marriages which are really marriages of convenience, not really marriages of love. It's either they are the breadwinners, and what I should say here is that a number of our members are women with disabilities who have a low education background, and they are dependent on asking for alms, and they are dependent on other people to lead them. Okay? And you find that the people that lead them, that help them as personal assistants, are their husbands. And some of these husbands just marry them because they are able to provide for them. So they conveniently see them as a means to getting their finances. And if it so happens that such men are the persons that are abusing these women rarely report these abuses because they feel that these people may leave them. And they're also human. They want to be married. They want to be in relationships. And sometimes it's their community, their friends, other people without disabilities who may talk them down to staying into abusive marriages because they think those people have married them, not that they are supposed to be married. Those people have married them as a way of favoring them. Otherwise, they could leave them and they would be left without anyone to care for them. When you get these men that marry for convenience sake, usually you get them to talk bad about the women they've married. They abuse them verbally, and that really isn't that does harm to the women that are abused verbally because they look down on themselves. They can't come out and really talk about it. And why they don't talk about it, it's because they are told from society has told them society has been treating them as second-class citizens, people that can't really speak for themselves, people that depend on other people to do what they must do. And it is true, they depend on other people, but if they knew their rights, it would be easy for them to come out. If these people were educated, it would be easy for them to speak, speak for themselves and stand for themselves because they are able, they know their rights and they are economically independent. But because they are not economically independent, that is why they are spoken down on and they are not able to come out and speak for themselves. So people with disabilities really are psychologically damaged because people speak ill on them and they can't speak against.
Madam Bwalya, before when we started the program, you explained that you are in all 10 provinces as an organization. So then this probes me to ask, because of the psychological, maybe gender-based violence that persons with disabilities might be facing, as an organization, are you conducting any sort of workshops, training, or mentorships around the 10 provinces of Zambia on gender-based violence to persons with disabilities?
Okay. When I say 10 provinces, we have members in all the 10 provinces. Mm-hmm. And we have active, organized groups in, that is 7 provinces. And in these provinces where we have active groups, yes, our members have meetings. We have not really, like, when we can, we have workshops where our members talk about their rights. Yeah.
So since you have like members talking about their rights, do you ever maybe get to experience times when persons, women especially with disabilities, tend to report any form of gender-based violence?
I know there was one case that was a child with a disability that was defiled on New Year's Day going into 2024, I think. Yeah. And that case went up to the police, and the man was apprehended because he was caught red-handed. And for some reason, that case has just disappeared, and I don't know what has happened with it.
Perhaps now we could talk about the long-lasting effects on persons with disabilities when they are faced with gender-based violence, any form of gender-based violence. What do you think are some of the long-lasting effects?
Because someone has been violated, they really just withdraw, okay? They withdraw. And what has happened with gender-based violence for women or girls with disabilities is that they rarely report and they rarely come out because they fear being ridiculed. They fear being not believed, because even the families just brush it under the carpet. They don't want to speak about it. Mm-hmm. So you get them not trusting people. So these are the long-lasting effects. You get them not to trust people. You get them to withdraw, and you get them not to live a life where they are really free. Mm-hmm. They are suspicious of people.
Right. Now let's now discuss about the young girls that are living with a disability that are growing into women. Do you think society is conducive enough to protect them from gender-based violence?
No, society is not prepared to look after these girls, but we have organizations that really care for these children or girls. But what we need in society is an inclusive mechanism for reporting, because you get someone with a girl who has an hearing impairment. They are deaf, or they can't hear what other people are saying. They depend on sign language, and they won't be able to communicate. And you get the visually impaired. It's the same thing, okay? So what we need is an inclusive mechanism for reporting, where we have sign language interpreters at police stations and that kind of thing. And aftercare for victims of GBV. If only we could have inclusive homes, aftercare homes, where we can also accommodate women with and girls with disabilities, because usually you find these homes, maybe they are not accessible by a person using a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Maybe you talk about homes which have a flight of stairs. How do girls with disabilities access those places? So the other thing that I also wish to highlight is that we often find that women or girls with disabilities find themselves in these marriages, forced marriages. Okay, it all goes with high poverty levels. Usually, victims of such forced marriages are those women or girls with disabilities who come from poor families, and their families marry them off to whoever wants to marry them, because they see that as a financial relief. Yeah. So, the other reason for GBV in the case of women with disabilities is myths. People would want to sleep with a woman or girl with a disability, believing that they'll be cured of a terminal illness they have. Mostly it is this notorious HIV. So you find that women with disabilities, especially maybe the blind or someone deaf or someone that has a mental disability, you find people marrying them or having sex with them, believing that they'll be cured of their illness, or that they'll become rich. They use whatever they use to get their chance for getting rich. Those are the key points which also contribute to the causes of GBV.
Very interesting. Yeah. We are still discussing gender-based violence, and before we call it a wrap, dear viewers, please do take time to watch the other episodes that have been posted here on our YouTube channel, which is at NGOCC YouTube. And of course, we have aired different episodes discussing different issues, and so you do us very well, and for yourself also, to just go and watch some of our episodes, and feel free to please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to ring that bell so that you don't miss out on any of the video posts that we make. Madam Bwalya, before we even wrap up the show, perhaps you could talk to the young girl out there who has a disability, the woman out there who has a disability, and how stable they can be in terms of economic stability, how they can try and empower themselves, and what are some of the things that they can do to ensure that they are living a life where they can survive on their own.
Okay, thank you. Dear girl or woman with a disability, as we usually say, disability is not inability. And we don't have to look for disability-less empowerment. We should look for empowerment for every citizen, because we are citizens of Zambia. There is a CDF out there. What is stopping a woman with a disability to be empowered through CDF, or a girl with a disability to be empowered with CDF to access their education? So whatever empowerment program is there, it does not stop a woman or a girl with a disability from getting. So girls and women with disabilities should try by all means to be aware of what is happening in the community, because what we are trying to fight for is an inclusive society. So whatever every other citizen of Zambia is getting as an empowerment means, even women and girls with disabilities should get the same empowerment. So every program, developmental program, should be inclusive of disability.
Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence here at the podcast, and most importantly, for coming to share with us the knowledge regarding the disability and how best society can handle these issues. We are so grateful.
Thank you very much again for having me.
Thank you. Well, there you have it, my dear viewer, and this has been the NGOCC podcast. We were discussing gender-based violence with the Zambia National Association for Women with Disabilities coordinator, Madam Bwalya Chilufya, who has just highlighted some of the key issues in talking about inclusivity of persons with disabilities, but most importantly, the women and the girl child. Remember that we come your way every Friday at 15 hours. This is the NGOCC podcast. I'm your host, Chibesa Cecilia Mongulube. Good afternoon.